when I was learning sales, it wasn't just me listening to podcasts and listening to sales trainings and listening to sales books and all that. Yeah, I was doing that because I was obsessed. I turned my car into a sales university. But the thing that really gained traction for me was doing the business with other people. So every single morning, I would hop on role plays with other community members and would go back and forth, right? First time I get in there, I freaking hated it. I'm like, dude, there's 50-something people in this Zoom. I do not want to do a role play in front of people. I'm good. And then all of a sudden I do it. I force myself to put myself out there. I do it. And then as time goes on, I start getting better. And then every single morning, I started getting more and more confidence. And I was like, man, I actually want to be first today. Like, I want to do it. I want to show my skills. I want to show how I've been getting better. And everybody's in the side chat after I'm doing my role play, cheering me on, doing the things. Like, I'm getting good feedback. It's good. That's what got me the confidence. But it was me doing that with other people that got me that. And then what we would do is right after the role plays, me and a couple other community members would hop on a Zoom alone, and that's where we would call sellers, right? We'd have our cameras off. You could see each other's facial expressions. Sometimes would unmute and would listen to each other's calls, and would give each other feedback and would laugh and would do all that. And that's what got me through that. And I need that. And I started to think back, and I'm like, that's why the 10-hour live was such a success. If I just sat here for 10 hours straight by myself on no Zoom with nobody else, with nobody listening, alone, and I did the same exact thing that I did during that 10-hour live, I don't know if all those deals would have gotten locked up. It was just the energy in the room. It forces you to go harder. It forces you to be better. It forces you to bring a good spirit to your day, just being in community. So that's what I think is one of the most important things, and that's what's been on my heart ever since the 10-hour live. And it's biblical. Like, God says this, man should not be alone, right? Like, we shouldn't do things alone. Actually, matter of fact, I'm going to bring up some scripture. Oh, this is good. Okay. So the majority of people know who Moses is, right? Moses is the guy who led the Israelites out of Egypt. And this is after Moses leads the Israelites out of Egypt. Goes through a bunch of trials and tribulations. At this point, the Israelites are pretty much giving Moses hell. First off, they're like super jacked up for him, super excited, and they're like super faithful, and they're like, Moses, you're the guy that's been talking to God. We trust you. We're going to lead your way. And then all of a sudden they start, their obedience goes down, and they start saying, oh, why did you bring us out here? You brought us out here to get killed. And their doubt just kind of sinks in. And that keeps going back and forth. And Moses is just like, what the heck? But Moses' job is to lead them out. And he has his brother with him, Aaron, kind of talking for him to Pharaoh and stuff like that, kind of helping him out. But he's really doing this thing pretty much all on his own. Yeah, he's with all the Israelites, and his job is to get them out of Egypt. But he's like doing this thing all on his own. He's climbing up the mountain on his own. He's talking to God on his own. He's coming back down on his own. He's giving advice on his own. He's pretty much doing all the work on his own. So this is what happens. Jethro is the father of Moses' wife. So it's Moses' father-in-law. Jethro comes to visit Moses, right? And this is a guy that has a lot of wisdom. And this is a guy who pretty much saved Moses after he left Egypt the first time. So Moses looks up to this guy, and he has a lot of wisdom. So this is what it says. Yo, I want to thank you for tuning into this clip from the Blueprint Podcast. If you did not catch the whole entire podcast, I need you to go back to the channel and look at the podcast that we dropped earlier this week. Let's get back to the clip. Exodus 18, verse 9. Jethro was delighted to hear about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel in rescuing them from the hand of the Egyptians. He said, "Praise be to the Lord who rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians and of Pharaoh, and who rescued the people from the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, for he did this to those who had treated Israel arrogantly." Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought in a burnt offering and gave sacrifices to God and da-da-da-da-da. Okay? And then he says, the next day, Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people. and they stood around him from morning till evening. When his father-in-law saw that what Moses was doing for all the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for all the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, while all the people stand around you from morning till evening?" Moses answered him, "Because the people come to me to seek God's will. Whenever they have a dispute, it's brought to me, and I decide between the parties and inform them of God's decrees and instructions." Moses' father-in-law replied, "What you are doing is not good. You and these people who will come to you will only wear yourselves out. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle it alone. Listen to me now, and I will give you some advice, and may God be with you." And then he goes on to pretty much just say, the people that are with you, they need to help out as well. Like, you need to bring some leaders in, and you need to do this thing together with these other community members. Like, doing this thing alone, you're going to wear yourself out. It's too hard to do this alone. We can't do this thing alone. It's the same thing in business. It's like, why the heck do we think that we could just go ahead and tackle a whole entire business alone? It's not meant to be. Like, there's people out here that are the one-man band, and that's cool. There's people that are just starting their business out. Trust me, I've been there, where I'm just starting out. But being the one-man band is lonely, it's tiresome, and to a point, you are going to wear yourself out. You might have to do that in the beginning just to gain some traction and go get a deal so you can maybe bring out some team members or something like that. But at the end of the day, even if you are a one-man band, that's not an excuse to do this business alone. You're in communities, and they're free. Like, you don't have to go pay for a mentorship or some sort of a community to be in. You can literally go to a meetup that's local for free. You can get in Zooms like these that we're in for free and have your camera off and interact in the side chat and be putting in the side chat, "Hey, my market is ... Who is in Boston, Massachusetts? Who wants to squad up? Who wants to make calls together?" That's how you get into community. So as an action step, right? Let's talk about this. You might be like, "All right, Mike, this is cool. Yeah, like, I understand we need community. I understand God does not want us to be doing all these things alone. So we need to go find partners. We need to go find battle buddies. We need to go find, our team members and people to just do this business with. But I just don't know how to go do that. Like, where do I go find that?" Well, that's a good question. There's a quote that Pace says that's really good. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So as you are putting your vibe out there, your tribe will be attracted to that. But you have to put your vibe out there. Your vibe will never be attracted unless you put it out there, okay? So instead of just sitting on a Zoom with your camera off and never talking, never raising your hand, never saying anything in the side chat, get yourself out there. Like, find a thing. This thing right here, like I don't even know what the heck you call this. I don't know what you call this little blurb right here and the logo and all that. Usually what I'll have here is my Instagram handle sometimes. Like, find one of these. This software is called Camo, C-A-M-O. And you can put this on all your screens. Brendan, right now, on his Zoom name, it says Brendan Gallagher and his phone number. Dez, it says the same exact thing. It says Dez and then his phone number, right? I would put my market there. I would put maybe what I do there. I would be in the side chat, being active. I would have my camera off, like just getting out there. And ultimately, your tribe will be attracted to you from that. So for me, what happened is when I was getting in those role plays in the morning, I made sure that I was loud. I made sure that I was the first one to have my hand up. I made sure that everybody knew who the heck I was. And then ultimately, my friends and partners and team members and all that stuff came to me. I didn't even have to go out and seek it. I didn't have to go on Instagram and DM a bunch of people. Right? I didn't have to go on Instagram and say and DM a bunch of people and say, "Hey man, what market are you in? Hey man, what market are you in? Hey man, what market are you in?" It's kind of awkward. Like, and I love all the people that DM me, and I answer everybody's DMs. But I get those type of DMs all the time where people are just like, "Hey man, how can I help you? Hey man, what market are you in?" And I'll answer with the answer, but it just kind of like stops there and it's just an awkward type of conversation. You see what I mean? I like the effort, but let's just shift the effort just a little bit. Let's just shift the effort to being ourselves and putting ourselves out there. And ultimately, your tribe will be attracted to that.